Hi guys, greetings from Malaysia. Thank you for having me back again. Tonight I'm going to talk about how you can really improve your sales in a very simple way. In fact, in an awesome way. A lot of people are frightened of sales people. They think there are a different variety of people, a different breed of people, but that is not true. We're all really salespeople deep down. All of us have to transfer or persuade another person to our point of view. That is really sales. So tonight we're going to talk about how to inspire the customer to communicate how they would like to be sold. The 5 principles we're going to talk about is, first of all, getting the customer's attention. Second thing is arousing their interest. The third thing is creating desire for your product. Whichever product you have, there has to be desire for the customer to actually buy it and own the product. Next thing is to establish conviction. And lastly, we're going to talk about closing on demand, which we'll explain later what that actually means. Getting the customer's attention means a lot of things. But first of all, if you don't have their full attention, if they are distracted in any way, shape or form, they will not be focused on what you're doing. Therefore, they won't be listening to you. They won't be able to make decisions on whether your product will benefit them. And really, they're not really going to be enjoying it because you're boring them. You've got to find a way not to do that. So the first thing you've got to establish control of these people. Now, when you're taking control in the first instance, when you're meeting people, when you're sitting people down in front of you, you've got to look into their eyes and you've got to have eye contact. People will respect you when you look them in the eye in a very sincere way, so that they can see that you actually mean what you're saying. But most importantly, that you have the respect for them by taking the effort to make sure that you do a good job about the presentation. It's all about respect here. Please make sure you get fantastic eye contact. If they're looking away from you, look away from them, find their eyes again and bring them back, and they'll get the message. Don't let them look away. If they're looking away, they're not interested, therefore they're not listening to you. If they're not listening to the presentation, you can forget exactly what you're talking about. It's a waste of time. Please get their eye contact. Secondly, get your ears. Your ears here are like radars. Imagine a big radar dish here. Your ears are a tool to tune into these people. You've got eye contact, but you've also got 2 ears. And whatever they say to you, even if it's negative, even if they're shouting at you, even if they're saying that they're not interested in you, listen carefully and intently to what these people are saying to you. Believe me, once they see that you are listening to them, they will respect you and begin to like you and give you empathy, because you're tuning into them, you're listening to them. You're not listening to anybody else, you're not listening to your own voice, you're listening to them. And when you're listening, make sure that they tell you everything. If they haven't finished, let them finish. Do not interrupt what they're saying. When they're finished, then is the time to turn it around and start to pitch the benefits of your product. But most importantly, please tune into these people. Be strong. Whatever kind of sales that you're doing in anywhere, with any product, you've got to be strong with these people. If you are weak, they will take advantage of you and they will walk all over you and they will basically not buy, because they believe that you're not really taking a full interest in what you're doing. You don't really believe in what you're doing, therefore you're not strong. If you're weak, it means you don't believe in your product. And people are very clever. They will see straight away that you don't do that, or you don't believe in it. As well as being strong in your eye contact and your listening skills, you've also got to be very strong in the way that you speak and the tonality of your voice when you're talking and communicating with these people. The tonality and the enthusiasm of your voice really has to come through your whole body. It can be like this: well, this product's really fantastic. It's not the same tone as, this product is fantastic. The tone is completely different. But they're the same words, but different body language. People totally get a different message from what you're saying there. Tell them the rules of the game. When you sit people down and you're about to do a presentation with them, they are scared and frightened of you because they don't know what to expect. Even though they may not seem frightened, They're saying, oh, come on, get on with it, let's do this, and come on, I've got to go now, and I'm not interested. That's just ways to show that they're trying to make up for their fear. And they put this wall in front of them to try and make you be blocked from their point of view. Please do not be scared of that. Be strong. Tell them the rules of the game. Tell them what's going to happen. I'm going to show you something today. It's going to benefit you or your company. It's going to do this, this, and this for you. List the main principles, very brief principles. And then tell them how long roughly it's going to take to go through it. It's only going to take half an hour of your time. It's going to take an hour of your time. It's only going to take 5 minutes of your time. Be honest with them. You know, respect that these people have schedules to keep. So please tell them what's going to happen during the presentation. If you are going to close them on the day, tell them you're going to close them on the day. So listen, I'm going to ask you to buy at the end of it. Be honest with them. Don't let it surprise them at the end. If you tell them up front that you're going to do that, yes, they may have time to build up their defences, but at least they know that you're going to ask them at the end of the presentation, so they're expecting it. So therefore, it's easy to do it. Make them laugh. Inject some humour. Now listen, a lot of people in these in books you read and the things that you see on TV tell you that please do not tell a joke if it doesn't work. Practice the joke. Yes, that is true. Try and practice a couple of jokes before you actually tell them the joke. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You make mistakes. Laugh at yourself and they'll respect you for it. They'll still laugh and still get the joke, but at least you can laugh about yourself and they'll relax. And what happens when people laugh is that their barriers come down. They feel very, very much at ease with you because they see that you're human, you're not just a machine trying to sell a product. So please, laughing and humour is very important. Very, very important. Distract them from any outside influences and take control. Where you do your presentation is quite important. If there's a lot of loud noises around you, there's people walking in the room all the time, or you know, if there's somebody else talking on the other side of the room, make sure the environment that you're in is conducive to what you're doing. So if you're doing a presentation with a slideshow, make sure that you are in the room with the right people. Make sure the door is locked, that no one comes in or comes out of that room. Believe you me, if someone walks in and walks out of the room all the time, these people will get distracted. You've got to take control of it. If someone does do that, which does happen, sometimes the maid or the tea lady comes in and says, do you want a cup of tea? And distracts you all, then you have to get on with it and you know, you have to adapt. But please get back to what you're doing after that. Believe you'll make a lot of mistakes. You'll have a lot of tests in any presentation that you do through the years. Use that as a learning experience. And it says here, please, please, please ask questions. We're going to talk about questions a bit later on. But if you don't ask questions, you're not going to find out really what makes these people tick, what they actually want, what really drives them. And if you don't know what drives them, you can't find the right product. You've got to ask questions all the time. Got to. Next, arousing the customer's interest. You've got their attention, but you can only keep that attention for so long. You've got to find a way now to get their interest in what you're doing. Now, a grabber is a bit like a tease. It's a bit like a teaser. So you give them something and you take it away again. It's a bit like if you go to the cinema. If you go to the cinema and watch the previews on the screen before the main feature starts, you'll notice that the best bits of the film are normally in the previews. They go, oh, there's banging and crashing, and this happens, and that happens, and all this, in like the space of 10 seconds in the preview. But you don't know what happens. It leaves you on the edge. You see, oh, I've got to go and see that film, I've got to go and see that film. That is what a grabber is. It's a teaser. So tell them something like, listen, I'm going to show you something today. But if I could show you something, if I could show you a car, and it only cost you the price of your grocery shopping per week, and that's all it cost you, would you be interested? Now, it doesn't have to be a car you sell, but relate it to something that they can relate with. Shopping they can relate with, because they know how much it costs. So shop them a little bit, but make sure, of course, you can deliver that price. And then you'll get their interest because there's something in it for them. You've got to find something that is in it for them very early on in the presentation. It says here, find the DBM. Now, a DBM is a dominant buying motive. The dominant buying motive is the reason that your customer will buy your product today. The dominant buying motive is the reason why they will be motivated to buy your product. Now, to find out their DBM, we'll talk a bit more about that later, but to find out their DBM, you have to ask them questions. very good questions that will tell you the information that you need. He says here, listen again very, very carefully to everything they say. So once you've aroused their interest, and they say to you, what do you mean it costs that? That's not much money. How can you do that? How can you do this? Listen to the questions, but always take control. Don't tell them all the benefits straight away. Keep them back. It's like a loaded gun. Don't fire all your bullets at once. You need those bullets later on in your presentation. So bear with me, it gets better. Bear with me, what I'm about to show you will benefit you, but just bear with me a few minutes more and I'll come to that point later on. So stick to your presentation, but keep teasing them all the time. Make sure you simplify your idea as much as possible. Whatever product that you have, it may be an internet-related product, it may be a machine-related product, it may be a chemical, it may be lots of things. It may seem a complicated issue, but it doesn't have to be that way. You've got to simplify it as much as you can. Even if your listeners or your buyers are in the industry, they may not be as knowledgeable as you about that product. Therefore, keep it as simple and really easy to understand as possible, so that these people can really grasp the idea and the concept that you're trying to sell. That is very important. If you make it too complicated, if you keep telling them this and it does this and it does that and it does that, people will switch off and they will not listen to what you're saying and they will not be excited. Next, show them that you care about their needs in an extremely sincere and ethical way. Now what I mean by that is that when you listen to them, it's how you listen. You don't just go, yeah, okay, yeah, right, yeah. That is not listening to people. Listening is doing something like this. Right? Okay. Right. Right, okay. So what you're saying to me is, right, this is how you listen to people. You tune into what they're saying, use your body language, and then clarify what they're saying. So what you're saying to me is if we could do this, then you would be happy with this. Is that right? Yes. And how would you be happy with that? Well, and they speak again. Make it a two-way conversation. Don't tell them. Let them tell you as much as you can. The more information they give you, the better. They should be talking more than you're talking. But you must do it in an extremely sincere and ethical way. Now, when you do that, when you listen to them that way, they can see that you're interested in their needs, not your own needs. A lot of salespeople go into a presentation, meet customers, and they go bang, 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 bang. And they think about their commission. That's all they think about, and the customer knows that. And it really does put them off. Make sure that you are getting their interest in a sincere and ethical way. Ethical, what I mean by that is that what you're really communicating to them is when they buy it, it's ethical. It will benefit them. It's not a false promise. Very important. And again, please ask questions. We'll come to that in a second. Next slide, we're going to talk about creating desire. There has to be desire for anything that people buy in life. If people want to buy a banana, there has to be desire to eat the banana. If people want to buy a car, there has to be desire to buy a certain car. There are so many different cars and so many different things in the world. The reason why people have a preference is because they have a desire for that specific item, and something has driven them to have that desire, whether it's visual, auditory or kinesthetic. There's lots of different drivers for people's desires. Finding their dominant buying motive is very important. We talked about before, the dominant buying motive is the reason they buy today, the reason they will make the decision to buy today. So you've got to ask them a question. For example, let's imagine that you're selling them a property, okay? And you want to find out what kind of property they want. Let me give you a fantastic question. This is not just a fantastic question, this is an outstanding question that you should be asking your people when you do this and you're in this industry. But it can work for a lot of other industries apart from property. Say to your customer this: if I gave you $1 million today, on the table, right now, piled up, green notes, fresh crisp notes, $1 million, and you absolutely had to spend it on your property that you had to live in. This year you had to spend all that money. You couldn't spend the money on anything else. You had to buy that house this year with all that money. What kind of house would you buy? Pause and let them tell you the answer to the question. If they don't answer you, ask the question again. If I gave you $1 million on this table right now, you had to spend it this year on the property that you want to live in, What kind of property would you buy? Where would you have it? What would it be like? What kind of facilities would you want? How many rooms would you like? And so forth and so forth and so forth. Now, if you keep asking that question in a very indignant way, in a very enthusiastic way, in a very sincere way, they will tell you the answers. They may pause a little bit, and they'll go, well, I've never really been asked that question before. If they say that to you, that's really good, because they're listening to you. And then they will begin to tell you what kind of house they want. What kind of house fulfills them as a family or as an individual. Because everyone's idea of a dream home is completely different to everybody else's. You have to find out their individual needs. Once they tell you that information, what you've done is now you've found out a dominant buying motive. You've found out a reason for them to buy your product or your house today. Again, doesn't have to be a house, can be any product. The reason I said $1 million is to take away the fear of money. People sometimes will only tell you what they really want when you take out the element of money, because they'll put money in the way as a limiting belief. Sometimes people will tell you really what they want according to what they think they can afford. But what you really want is really what fulfills them as a property or a product. And then you can find out and negotiate what would be affordable to them. So basically you're meeting them both ways. And you're finding out really what they would be happy with. Reassure them that your company can deliver by showing how easy it is to use the product. It is very important that once you are making promises, once you are communicating how good your product or service is, you have to back it up. They have to know that they can use your product. They have to know that other customers are using your product and are very satisfied. They have to know that your product is easy to use and will directly benefit them. If they don't believe that, they obviously will not buy it. Now, for you to be able to translate that information across to them so they believe that it is easy to use, is by showing them very, very, very small benefits of the product. It's by showing them how easy it is to use the product, by demonstrating it. It's by showing them testimonials of satisfied customers, either by in black and white, on the TV, on a video, telephone. There's loads of different ways. But you've got to build that credibility that those people believe sincerely that your product stands out and works. Next, use financial logic. Every product that you sell in the world has a price. People have to justify that price. Why should I spend all that money on your product? Justify why I should spend that money on your product. They're asking that question all the time. People buy with emotion, but they also buy with logic. But remember this, emotion counts for more than 80% of the sale. Logic is about 20%. So basically your logic is backing up their emotional decision. Logic is, for example, does it save them money? If it does save them money, how does it save them money? If it really does save them money, and they know how it saves them money, how much money in real terms is it going to save them this year, next year, the year after that? Show them in black and white, but get them to agree with you and close them on the answers. So would you agree with me, John and Mary, that this product will benefit you financially in today and in the future? And get them to answer you. We'll come to techniques and closing questions later on. But please, please use logic, use financial logic to back up what you're saying and justify the purchase. Next, very importantly, paint a picture of your customer directly benefiting from your product. Put these people in the ownership of your product. If they're buying a car, paint the picture. Just imagine John and Mary sitting in that lovely leather seat, putting your hands on that steering wheel, turning the key and hearing that fantastic sound of your favourite car starting up in the morning. Imagine just driving down the road with the window down and people looking at you in the street, admiring the car that you're driving, feeling comfortable, your friend sitting next to you, admiring the interior of the car. Wow, what a great car, what a fantastic car. Paint the picture, get them excited about owning your product. It really, really does create desire. Now when you're painting a picture, you've got to appeal to the five senses. Sight, what they see, what they hear, what they taste, what they feel. Okay? What they can touch. Appeal to the five senses. So think about when you're selling your product, what they actually will see when they use it. Will they see a lovely beach? Will they see a lovely resort? Will they see a lovely house? Will they see a lovely car? Whatever it's going to be. It can be anything. But paint the picture and spend a long time doing that. And please don't feel silly doing it. A lot of salespeople say to me, well, you know, that's the hardest part of the presentation. It's really difficult to paint that picture emotionally. I will tell you now, if you do not do that, your sales will drop at about 80%. If you keep doing it and learn how to do it properly and really excite these people, your sales will start going up and increase and increase. If I can teach you one thing today about successful sales, it's creating desire by painting the picture of how it would feel to them by owning your product. Extremely crucial to what you're doing. Next, close them when their desire is peaking. So when they show interest in your product, they will ask you questions. They will ask, well, that sounds really good. Well, how does it work? Or how much does it cost? And where can we get this? And can we order one? And da da da. When people are interested, they will sit in the chair like this, and they will start to ask you questions. That's the time when you close people. You close them when the desire is high. You cannot close them when they don't want it. If they're not asking you questions, it's very difficult to close them because really the desire is not strong enough to close them and to make a decision on it. I'll explain more of that later. Next, you've got to establish conviction with these people. Now, conviction is the way you speak, is the way you hold yourself, and your body language. Conviction is the way the presentation comes across. Your eye contact, the way you look at people, the way that you move your arms, your body, the way that you talk, your tonality in the voice, the way that you listen to these people. To build conviction, to establish conviction, you have to build a rapport. Now, to build a rapport, is another training session, but very, very briefly, to build rapport, first of all, you've got to listen to them. Secondly, you've got to be able to answer the question sincerely. Thirdly, you've got to show them that you care. Next, you've got to find a way that they believe that you care about them by asking them more questions about their own lives. Show an interest in what they do. Try and find a common bond. If they play golf, fantastic. If you don't play golf, doesn't matter. Show that you're interested in playing golf. Well, I've always wanted to learn how to play golf. How do you do it? Why is it so good to play golf? Act interested. You probably are interested anyway. But if you show you're interested, people love that. People love to talk about themselves. It's their favourite subject. People will go on about themselves all day as long as you ask them questions and show that you're interested. But once you do that, they'll really like you as a person. And people only buy from people that they really like. They don't buy of people they don't like. They buy off friends. And they only buy off a friend if you've built enough trust and rapport to do that. By being very passionate about what you're doing, this is the whole basis of really why people will buy from you. They have to really see that you mean what you say. So once you've built rapport, once you've got a good banter going with these people, once you've got trust, once you've got something that you can relate to, then it's the time to really build that passion and show them that by buying this product or using this service that you've got today, they will directly benefit. You're doing them a service. If they buy it, you're doing them a service. If they don't buy it, you're doing them a disservice. Create urgency. Create urgency. Urgency means you've got to find ways for them to buy sooner rather than later. You don't want them to go away and think about it. You don't want to come back and do 3, 4, 5, 6 presentations because basically you're not selling the product. Then you're wasting your time. If it's a good product, if it's well sold and they like you, there's no reason why they will not buy on the day. There's no reason why they won't buy on the day. The best time for those people to buy is when their desire is high and they understand the product. So please create urgency for them to buy today. How? Well, tonality of voice. Create urgency. People are buying this. As we speak right now, they're using it already. They're already saving money. They're already getting these benefits. How would you feel if you could get those benefits right now by using this product? So bring it into today. Make urgency in your sale. Use your body language to fully express what you're saying. Use your arms. You've got these arms, you've got these legs, you've got this face. Use it. You're a human being. You've got expressions. These people can relate to that.